things theology, all things theology. We chop it up properly without an apology. Gotta give doxology to God hollow, because this is how we do it at All Things Theology.
Yo, grace and peace, guys, and welcome back to an episode of All Things Theology. It's your host, K-Dub, and today we're going to talk about the He Gets Us website and ministry. If you were watching the Super Bowl, you saw quite a few commercials about He Gets Us, but what is He Gets Us about, right? So I'm going to talk about the website, some of their beliefs, because I think it will be helpful. Because many times in Christianity, right, we see Jesus and we're, yay, well, I remember a few years with the Scientology, and some people can have an overreaction, but I thought I did a mature thing and I went to the website. I've heard of He Gets Us before, but never really looked into them. So last night I took the time to look at the website. So what I'm going to do is share my screen and we're going to look at it together. So if you go to the He Gets Us and you can click on right here, you'll see videos, topics, about us, take action, and some free gear, right? So I did that and I clicked on the He Gets Us has an agenda, right? You go to there and you go down, and you can just see that their motivation, right? So this section was actually very interesting. And so what I wanted to do is provide, because some people, I posted a clip on my Facebook and many people were like, where is that on the website? So I'm going to show you actually where to see some of these statements on their website, right? And so you go to the He Has Us Has an Agenda. You scroll down to the section right here, throughout our shared history, Jesus has represented the ultimate good that humankind is capable of aspiring to, right? And that's right here. Has Jesus represented the ultimate good that humankind is capable of aspiring to? Now, if it would have just stopped that He has represented the ultimate good, that would have been a theological, precise statement. But we are not capable of aspiring to Jesus' goodness, right? Because His goodness is perfection. So you're going to see a lot of problematic statements like this. And ultimately what you're going to see from the He Gets Us is that Jesus is simply presented as a human moral example that we all are to follow. Now, of course, Jesus is an example to follow, but that's not all He is, right? So we'll go through this. So, right, though some no longer believe in God, most are still compelled by the idea of a person capable of unconditional love for others despite their difference. Again, what you're going to see is Jesus being presented in a pluralistic way, that he's palatable, right, digestible, no matter what your religion is. Like you can still, follow after Jesus in some kind of moral example way. That's actually what's going to be taught from this website, right? He Gets Us. So let's go to another section. This is, did Jesus really struggle as I do? And guys, this was actually one of the more problematic sections on their website. Again, go to the article, go to the topics. Did Jesus really struggle as I do? And let's start from the top. It says the video, and remember, a lot of these videos were actually played for Super Bowl commercials. Right. But this is them explaining a lot of this. It says the video, The Struggle, drew me in with its imagery, then presented me with the idea that Jesus struggled financially. And He's just like us. Huh? It stops. Even someone like me in my tracks thinking about it. No request for money, no expectation for me to change, no expectation to do anything except consider that Jesus struggled just like me, just like most of us. Going on, it says, it's not the typical message and it's anything but ordinary. Well, unless you're in prosperity gospel, right? Jesus presented as poor, carpenter, has probably been presented to most of us, right? So, but that's not the problematic statement. The problematic statement is further. It says the idea that So what you'll see through this website is they'll take true things, right? Jesus is like us, right? He can experience with some of our struggles, right? Of humanity. True statement, right? Hebrews 4 talks about that. But then they make amazing leaps. And when I mean amazing, I don't mean in a good way. Continue reading. It says the idea that Jesus is just like me, as opposed to the message that I need to change to become more like him, is extraordinary to me. So you see a true statement presented in the first paragraph, right? Generally a true statement taken in the first, to an amazing leap that, well, I don't need to change because Jesus is just like me. Well, newsflash, Jesus is not just like you. He's like you, right? He's human. He can, sympathize with our human weaknesses and experiences, but he's not just like you. And that's the problem. Jesus is God in the flesh. He never sinned. So he can't sympathize in that way, right? He's not just like you in that way. The Bible clearly talks about that. And notice, as opposed to the message that I need to become more like him. So what you have in this article is Jesus is brought down to sinful man, and they're on equal playing field, so to speak. Right? You don't need to change to be like Jesus because you're just like him already as you are. That is an unbiblical message. But notice, it goes further. It says, it completely transformed my thought process around Jesus. It allows me to separate the idea of Jesus from, it allows me to separate the idea of Jesus from the idea of religion. So, get rid of all the religion about Jesus. We just want the humanized version of Jesus. You see the problem? Going on, it says, I'm immediately skeptical of any religious message. Now, hold on a second. Does this sound like a person of the faith who's skeptical of religious message, right? Because Christianity is a religious message. Don't make no mistake about it. So that's why I say in the beginning, this ministry seems very pluralistic. And it's actually going to come out even more so in a second. And what I mean by pluralistic is this joint union message with multiple religions, right? At the bare minimum, it's pluralistic. At the worst, it's universalistic, right? It says, but this message doesn't come with a request or any action item. Someone who instantly becomes defensive and skeptical when religion is introduced to any conversation, I think the notion that Jesus is just like me and therefore meets me where I am and has been where I am without any expectation or reciprocity or paying to meet him is a completely different message than I have ever heard before. It was the first time that I can recall knowingly receive a religious message where I did not immediately tune it out. No. So again, a lot of convolution here, a lot of true things being stated, but then disconnected from the whole truth, right? Yes, Jesus meets us where we're at. But again, we are commanded to change to be more like him. So it's actually a reductionist message of the Bible, right? People love the Jesus that says, hey, meet you where you're at. And he does. But that Jesus who meets us where it's at changes us. See, this is kind of the free grace antinomian message. You don't really have to believe in him and place your faith. And guys, one of the things that was very missing from this website is the Jesus who forgives you of your sin and appeases the wrath of God. That is completely missing. Now, Jesus is presented as a model on how to forgive, but never is it mentioned that Jesus forgives your sin, right? You can't present that message when you just told people that he's just like us, right? Very interesting, right? Even this section was interesting. Text for prayer positivity, like sounds very new age. I don't know. I'm not going to make it too big of a deal, but this section right here was interesting too. It's the about us section. You go to the about us, this will come up, right? He gets us as a movement to reintroduce people to the Jesus of the Bible and his confounding love and forgiveness. Now, I'm pretty wary about when people say they want to reintroduce people to it's like representing people to Jesus. Very interesting. But again, I'll give it the benefit of that. We'll go on. This says, this all started with a diverse group of people passionate about the authentic Jesus of the Bible. Now, you just had someone previously said they're very skeptical of any religious message of Jesus or any religious message at all. But interesting. It says, while much has been said about him, much is still understood, but we're confident that as people clearly understand, read, and learn from themselves about who Jesus is, they'll find wisdom, hope, and peace, unlike any other offered. Be assured, though, that we're not left or right or a political or organization of any kind. We're also not affiliated with any particular church or denomination. Okay? We simply want everyone to understand that Jesus, as he's depicted in the Bible, the Jesus of radical forgiveness, compassion, and love. They go on to say, it wouldn't be hard to guess that we're led by Jesus fans and followers, people who believe he was much more than a good guy and a profound teacher. Now, you go on this website, that is all you see Jesus presented as, ironically enough. It is the social gospel, Jesus. Anyway, we'll continue on. It says, and that Jesus is the Son of God who came to earth, died and was resurrected, then returned to heaven and is alive today. Again, all true things. But what's missing? Forgiveness of sin, the reason why he came to do those things. Now, again, they present these things as examples of sacrifice and examples of how we are to forgive. And all those things are true. It's missing and incomplete on its own. Going on with the article, it says, we also have included many voices in our work here, welcoming diverse perspectives, backgrounds, and experiences to help us address the many concerns and issues we all face. It says, our hope is that you see how Jesus experienced challenges and emotions just like we have. We want to provide a safe place to ask questions, including the tough ones, right? We are also about sharing Jesus' openness to a people that others might have excluded. Well, Jesus does have an exclusive message, right? I am the only way to the Father unless you believe in me, right? John 14:6, there is no other way to the Father except through Jesus. And right, and not this reinvented Jesus, as long as you put Jesus' name on it. No, not that Jesus. The Jesus of the Bible is exclusive. Repent and believe, or you will perish. That sounds very exclusive. His message went out to all. Yeah, so if you mean inclusive in the sense of his message go to all, but as far as who's allowed in, yes, only the believers. Continue on, it says, and though you may see religious people as often hypocritical or judgmental, know that Jesus saw that too and didn't like it either. Instead, Jesus taught and offered radical compassion and stood up for the marginalized. Going on, it says, ultimately, we want people to know his teachings and how he lived here on earth. And this will be our starting point to understand him and his message. Though we believe he was what Christians call fully God and fully man, that might not be what you believe. Okay? Let's read this next sentence for clarity. It says, we're simply inviting you to explore with us at He Gets Us how many things might be different. How might things be different if more people followed his example? So again, you might not believe Jesus is fully God. That's okay. Just follow his example. Right? Now, is He Gets Us going to tell people, hey, like, man, unless you believe Jesus is the I am, you will perish in your sin, like he taught in John 8:28? I mean, is that what they're going to teach? Hey, I'm all for that. They say, look, we're going to open invitation to evangelize you. Is that's what's being done here? Does not seem like that. Rather, as long as you follow the example. Again, Jesus is the moral example. Just the moral example, right? It's right. So, right, this is an open invitation to engage and learn, right? So, very interesting. There's much more you can read on that website if you so desire, but I thought it would be important to look at that and give people just what he gets us as teaching. Does Jesus get us? Absolutely. But in what way? We have to even clarify what that means. Because Jesus is not just a man. And they alluded to that. Yeah, we agree he's fully God and fully man. But the only aspect they appeal to is his humanity. Right? Nothing about Jesus forgiving sin, nothing about him being transcendent our creator. There's a lot of language in that is just missing. And maybe they're fleshing that out. So, but again, some of the statements that were said were problematic. And so hopefully this video was helpful for you. Hopefully you learned a lot. Go and check the website out for yourself. Don't take my word for it, even though I went to the website and showed you. Read some more articles. But we should not be, we Christians, our message, our gospel message is not pragmatic. We don't have a pragmatic gospel. What do I mean? That we're just trying to present a Jesus to the world that they will like. Newsflash, Christian, the world will not like the biblical Jesus unless they come to faith in him and are converted. Right? Before I came to Christ, I didn't like the message of turn from your sin, right? Because I loved my sin. We don't win the world by giving a message that is worldly. So again, something to consider, something to think about. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like it, subscribe to the channel if you're not. Till the next time, grace and peace.